More than 3,300 recent sex abuse lawsuits in New York State, naming 2 cardinals, 11 bishops, and over 1,100 priests, have brought to light explosive new revelations against Cardinal Dolan and other church leaders. After the Child Victims Act and Adult Survivors Act forced open some of the New York Archdiocese's darkest sexual secrets, a new investigation has uncovered multiple cases where Dolan is still keeping priests named in legal filings in parishes and schools. While the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops calls for accused priests to be removed primarily to assure that children are not in danger should it prove true that the cleric has committed acts of abuse, the investigation reveals that Dolan is repeatedly failing to do so. Despite a lawsuit filed in 2021 accusing high-ranking New York Monsignor William Belford of sexually abusing a male minor, Dolan has kept him in ministry. Belford rose to power as Chancellor of the New York Archdiocese and then as Dolan's Vicar for Clergy. Dolan later named Belford pastor of St. Teresa of the Infant Jesus Parish and School in Staten Island, New York, where he succeeded Auxiliary Bishop John O'Hara. O'Hara was himself found to have covered up sexual misconduct reports and attempted to interfere in abuse litigation by pressuring potential witnesses from testifying against Dolan and the Archdiocese. Court filings state that Belford's reported sexual assault inflicted multiple bodily injuries. While Belford advanced in his career, the legal complaint reports that the alleged victim suffered severe trauma and loss of faith and mistrust of the Church. The lawsuit blasted the Archdiocese's outrageous recklessness, stating, had plaintiff known that Father Belford was a suspected danger to children before plaintiff was first molested, plaintiff would not have been sexually assaulted. Defendants were more concerned with their reputation than protecting the aforementioned children. Without concern for the safety of children, Dolan has allowed Belford to remain as head of his Staten Island parish and its elementary school. While Dolan was covering up Belford's sex abuse lawsuit, a separate suit filed in 2021 against New York Monsignor Thomas Dolan alleged that he abused a male minor by touching, groping, and/or fondling his genitalia and performing oral sex on him. Court filings state that Dolan's reported abuse inflicted lifelong scars and caused the alleged victim to feel that his childhood and innocence were stolen. According to the lawsuit, the Church remained silent. Despite the grave allegations, Dolan has yet to remove Dolan as pastor of the Bronx Parish and Elementary School. Dolan's Vicar for Clergy, Bishop Edmund Wayland, even announced Dolan's reappointment as pastor some 2 years after Dolan's sex abuse lawsuit was filed. Wayland's announcement made no mention of Dolan's sexual allegations. Bishop Wayland himself has a documented record of covering up sex abuse cases and reassigning accused priests. Belford and Deran are not the only priests Dolan has left at the helm of prominent parishes despite sexual misconduct complaints. Recent reports exposed how Dolan hid abuse allegations against his former director of priest personnel, Father Thomas Devery, and kept him as pastor of one of the Archdiocese's largest parishes and schools without telling parishioners of his record. While Dolan may have hoped that burying the legal case would prevent more victims from coming forward, a second victim filed suit after Devery's alleged abuse was exposed in the media, and Devery resigned in disgrace. After Dolan's former priest secretary, Father Jeffrey Maurer, admitted in 2020 to making what he dubbed an improper advance toward another adult while abusing alcohol, Dolan assigned him to head Red Hook's St. Christopher and Good Shepherd Parish, where he currently remains in ministry. Reports reveal that the adult subject of Maurer's misconduct was a New York Archdiocese seminarian. Dolan is also leaving the public in the dark about graphic sexual abuse allegations against former rector of Cathedral Seminary House of Formation, Father George Sears. After Sears' alleged assaults on a seminarian became the subject of a criminal police complaint, Dolan promoted Sears to become the New York Archdiocese's vocations director and pastor of Holy Name of Jesus, St. Gregory the Great Parish in Manhattan, where he remains to this day. Dolan never warned seminarians and parishioners of Sears' alleged abuse history. Dolan again sparked outrage in 2018 when it was discovered that he was still allowing accused predator Father Donald Timon to celebrate masses 1 year after the New York Archdiocese paid 2 settlements for substantiated allegations that he sexually abused 2 teenage boys. One of Timon's alleged victims committed suicide as a result of the abuse. Under Dolan, the New York Archdiocese was caught sending a false letter hiding Timon's record after the abuse settlements were paid, claiming, "Reverend Donald Timon is a priest in good standing and has never been accused of any act of sexual abuse or sexual misconduct involving a minor." The deception led a recipient of the letter to comment, "What do these letters of suitability and good standing mean if they say there's never been an allegation and there clearly have been? At the moment, the Archdiocese's word means nothing." High-ranking accused serial predator Monsignor John Paddock likewise stayed in ministry under Dolan's watch. While legal complaints revealed that the Archdiocese received sex abuse reports against Paddock at least as far back as 2014, Dolan kept the allegations secret and allowed Paddock to continue as pastor of Manhattan's prestigious Notre Dame parish. Over the next 6 years, 11 sex abuse lawsuits would be filed against Paddock, but Dolan still allowed him to retain his title as pastor. While the Archdiocese tried to spin the accusations against Paddock as unsubstantiated, Paddock has been named in no less than 16 sex abuse lawsuits. Dolan's shielding of accused priests led Boston Cardinal Sean O'Malley to report him to Pope Francis's U.S. representative, Cardinal Christophe Pierre. More than 5 years later, the Vatican has yet to discipline the New York prelate. Catholics who are disturbed that Dolan is hiding accused priests in their parishes are beginning to seek accountability through the courts. In 2015, parishioners of St. Francis de Chantal in the Bronx filed suit against Dolan after he failed to remove their accused pastor, Father Peter McQuelly. Dolan was discovered to have sidelined complaints that McQuelly embezzled over $1 million from parish funds to pay for drug-fueled sex romps. The legal complaint slammed Dolan, stating, "McQuelly's illegal scheme was known and protected by the Archdiocese of New York and Cardinal Dolan, and it was only by virtue of the Archdiocese's failure to act that McQuelly's scheme developed into the monster it is today." After Dolan handpicked and paid a New York investigative firm which covered up parishioners' concerns, a judicial vicar who reviewed thousands of pages of evidence concluded that the allegations against McQuelly were credible and that McQuelly was protected by some of the highest-ranking officials of the New York Archdiocese. In response to Dolan's cover-up, betrayed parishioners wrote, "McQuelly abused his people, and the Archdiocese of New York did nothing to come to our aid when it was happening, did nothing to stop it, and is now putting a cosmetic spin on the disgrace that they allowed to continue." McQuelly is also the subject of a separate lawsuit accusing him of sexually abusing a minor around the same time Dolan was burying misconduct complaints against him. Victims' advocates lament that had Dolan removed McQuelly when he first received complaints, the child's reported abuse could have been avoided. In an attempt to block pro-victim legislation, Dolan deceptively claimed that clerical abuse could be investigated and resolved through church reconciliation and compensation programs. In reality, a stunning number of sex abuse reports that cross Dolan's desk are never truly investigated and almost always fraudulently deemed unsubstantiated. A 250-page independent report released in 2021 details why internal church investigations have proven incapable of addressing sexual abuse. These investigations are often headed by an accused party's defense attorneys who cannot reveal their client's guilt without being disbarred for breaking attorney-client privilege. Members of internal panels are usually paid by church leaders and even admit to lacking enough objectivity to truly investigate sex allegations. Church panels often omit vital evidence and witnesses in order to produce preconceived, contrived conclusions. Many victims who approach internal church panels report being defamed, gaslighted, and even threatened in order to prevent them from bringing their accusations forward. And implicated prelates routinely issue deceptive public statements designed to mislead the public about credibly accused priests. Recent laws have resulted in allegations against accused priests being examined in courtrooms where archdiocesan-appointed officials cannot rush to self-serving conclusions or sideline evidence and witnesses. Dolan sends a strong message that he stands with predators instead of victims every time he fails to warn parishioners and leaves accused sex abusers in parishes and schools. Until the Vatican defrocks Dolan for secretly promoting accused clerics, more victims will be harmed because they never knew their priests may have gone from being predators to pastors.